Hey everyone, my name is Landon, and I just wrapped up the 4-part series on avoidance, and today is the first episode of the discipline and versus motivation series. So there are a few things that come to mind when it comes to discipline and motivation. We often struggle in the balance of the two. There are people that say that motivation does not really exist. And by what I mean, it doesn't exist, it means it's not something that is practical to rely on, and rather that discipline is going to be the only thing that we can really rely on if we want to continue doing the things that we hope to do. And as mentioned in the previous episode, as we get more clarity of what we want, and we are doing more things that are going to produce results that we are looking for, we want to think about how to keep these results going. So that is where discipline and motivation comes in. So I guess I could focus more on discipline in this episode, and comparing it to motivation. So let's see. I guess I could start off by defining what is discipline from an objective standpoint and the way that I think about discipline in my own life. So discipline from an objective standpoint is having this is mainly as objective as I can get from my own words. So it is about having a set outcome in mind, and it is pretty much repeating important patterns that you know will bring you to the goal that you are looking for. Maybe that's not the best definition out there, but that's the one that just comes up off the mind, and I think that highlights some important things about discipline. There is an end goal in mind. Repetition is an important thing, and there's a few nuances that I will get into when it comes to repetition. How I think about discipline in my own life. So I focus a lot on the things that don't necessarily come easy to me. So what do I mean by don't come easy to me? I mean, even doing this podcast is a challenge within itself at times. I'm only a few episodes in. I'm not really someone who people tell me. I don't have a lot of evidence that supported this creation of podcast of the podcast. I mean, there are people that have told me that they think I am well thought out, and I'm careful with the words that I use and the things that I say to people. I'll just keep it general at that. So, where was I going with that? I was explaining how I have discipline in my own life. Oh, yes. So, the podcast is just one example of something that I lump into my own discipline. But getting into motivation a little bit, discipline can differ for people. But for whatever reason, I think because I have a hard time getting myself to focus on the things that really will bring me forward in my life and bring those results, I tend to associate discipline with doing these things that are hard for me, that take a lot of challenge and bring me out of my normal state of comfort. So now that I've defined discipline as this thing where looking forward, repetition, and then how I look at it in my own life, which is what I would call tasks or behaviors that bring results but are challenging for me. So that is how I think about discipline in my own life. I'm pretty much finished up with at least this first episode. I at least highlighted what discipline is. I guess there is one last thing that I wanted to talk about briefly, which was pretty much the main point that I wanted to make. Oh, yes. So, why do we see discipline to be considered such a virtue and often seen on social media? And there are people who believe that we have no more, in a sense, this is discipline, no more tolerance and no more like attention span for things that are not like brain rot and like these basic TikTok and social media stuff. So with all this stuff on social media about discipline, and sorry if the audio has changed a little bit. There was a little bit of background noise as I was recording, so I had to start a new recording. But what... oh yes, so why is discipline being seen so much in social media and being talked about so much in self-help books nowadays? I think there's a misconception. I think that people believe that we have unlimited discipline, and it is commonly said that there needs to be a motivation or a passion behind what you do. So I agree with this, and I think that this line of thinking might align with the way that a lot of people think about what they like to do and what they really want. They want more of a passion, and they want to be guided by not only discipline, but also they believe that these two things work together, the discipline and then also the passion. So with that said, I have a little bit different of a theory behind what realistically this strive for things that we want looks like. It's not all about discipline, but I think discipline is aided by making it easier for ourselves. And I'm not the first one to think about this or talk about it. There are definitely books about making this easier. And I think I even talked about it a little bit in an episode in the past. But yeah, so we are often actually motivated. This is a general statement, of course, but as humans, by the path of ease. You may have heard of this before. I think it really rings true, at least with my life. So I think for me, an even better way to think about discipline is pairing it with how easy will the discipline be in order to get the thing that we are, the end result that we're looking for. So in order to get an end result that seems really difficult, we need to give ourselves an easy pathway to get there. Okay. Sorry if this was a little bit all over the place. I think my last episode was a little bit more coherent, and I'm going to keep on trying to make these shorter and more to the point. But that is the episode for today. So thank you for listening. If you listen to this, and let me know what you think about discipline and motivation in your own life. And the next episode will be coming out soon. All right, take care.